Yes, sir. We are live. What's up, Players Choice? Welcome back to another episode of Chill with Chill. I'm super subbing in for my guy, Ox, out there in Mexico teaching the youth. I'm back with my Unc. How you doing on this phenomenal Saturday afternoon?
Nephew, you know that the NBA implemented the 65 game rule, right? So we're implementing the game rule. You can't make the All-NBA. You can't be the sixth man of the year. So, when my nephew showing up like that, like this kind of taking Ox out of contention because, when you ain't around for it, you don't play enough games, the other dude who here, we got to give it up to him. And we can't get mad when we see this dude on the All-NBA team. Yo, you wasn't here. He was here. So
I've been efficient, I'm shooting it well. I'm efficient, scrappy on defense. We might make an all-defensive team too. So, hey, I'm going into free agency looking for a payday, Unc.
Hey,
let's lock up some of these awards.
And on top of that, he here. On top of that, he is here. So, what am I gonna do, B? I can't find. I told Big Ox, like, hey, man, your contract coming up soon. You might have to look in a direction. I'm just saying, B. You've been Big Ox been serious with his. Big Ox, he been an All NBA performer. But I'm saying, I got a dude that might not be as big, but he do a lot more. He's reliable. Like, we might be able to get him on the cheap. I don't know how much cheaper, but we might be able to get him on the cheap. So your contract might be looking a little tricky.
Might catch me on a Jalen Brunson deal, the best contract in the NBA right now. That's the best. That's the best contract in the NBA right now.
Hey, nephew. Why you bullshitting for real? You think about how on a cheap the Knicks got him, right? They basically bought a 2024 Bentley with 22,000 miles on it for like $10.
For $10.
They really got it for almost nothing.
Yo, in hindsight, and it's crazy too, because I feel so bad because when we first got Jalen Brunson, I thought we overpaid. I was like, we got $100 million. I was $100 million for Jalen Brunson.
Yo, y'all got him on the cheap.
We can't pay him enough. Cannot pay him enough. Oh, my Lord. Biggest bargain in the NBA right now. Jalen Brunson. They gonna owe you. You might as well try to re-up right now. You deserve it. You've been doing phenomenal things. Brought life back to the city. But let's get to the title of the show. LeBron is the NBA GOAT. End of discussion. I mean, do you want to have you take the floor?
I'm naturally, when you at this age, there's no way you should be doing the stuff that you're doing physically, naturally, right? But James is different. James is different in the aspect that we've seen him take care of his body throughout the course of his career. It's not like he just started taking care of his body a couple of years ago. Yo, I gotta get myself in shape. I gotta keep myself in shape. No, the dude been in shape the entire time. There's never been a lapse in his career. We've seen guys who have not taken care of their body and we saw them break down. James has been that right from the beginning. And he's an anomaly too. Now, don't get me wrong. The age that he is, we've seen him slow down. Contrary to popular belief, the dude's still dunking. Yeah, he still can get up and down the floor, but he ain't what he was 5-6 years ago. And if you're saying that he is, you lying, because no, he isn't. He don't run as fast. He still could do it in spurts. He'll still do it in stretches, but he don't do it as consistently as he did 5 years ago. You know why? Because I'm old. That's why. But I could still do it, though. And at any point, it could jump off. Prime example would be a couple of nights ago. Now, what we can't do is we can't expect him to continue that. But because we've seen him doing that so much, that's automatically the response. All right, he could do that on the regular. No, he can't. No, he can't. But that's a testament to how awesome he is. Because if you look at what he's doing now, right? You look at what he's doing now, and you saw what he did against the Clippers. That immediately makes me think, yo, a lot of y'all don't remember how awesome this dude really was. Like, you look at how good he is now and the stuff that he's still doing. I remember Doc in 87. Doc was over. I remember Jabbar in 89. Jabbar was over. As good as Jabbar still was, he could play, but he was over. Vince Carter was over. This dude right here, J-Rob, you know me. I take pretty good care of myself.
Yeah,
I I don't think I'm gonna be allowed to see this again, yo. Not in my lifetime. I don't think I'm gonna see somebody doing what this dude is doing again. I don't. I just can't see it.
I mean, I'll be honest. It's crazy too because on some nights, I look at LeBron and he has a regular game and is I'm not really too in awe. But for example, that Clippers game he played, I was in awe of what I was watching, just from the sense of he is 39 years old and can still at any time seem like in a moment, in 8 minutes of basketball, could still be looked at as the best player in the world for 8 minutes. If you needed a player for 8 minutes, he looks like the best player in the world. That moment, that fourth quarter against the Clippers, I couldn't look at anybody around the league and say who I'd rather want in that moment. And you know, the craziest part about all of this is he's about to re-up for more money, Unc, and you're going to have to give him the absolute bag because this isn't – he's not in 39 years old giving you 15 and 6. He's shooting it.
No.
He's unlocked another – and this is what's crazy. He unlocked another facet of his game. He's shooting the ball from 3 over 40% right now. Like, what?
Right.
Like, I thought when he averaged 10 assists, that was him messing around. He averaged 10 assists, which he could still probably do. Right. Now he's at this point, and it's just like at some point, you got to just come to grips with he may do this for another 2-3 years, man. It almost doesn't seem like the 2-3 years he about to re-up on. Yeah. I don't know why you.
There's a part of me, and there's a part of me that doesn't want to see it. You know why, J-Rob? The reason why is because I'm thinking to myself, if I see him do this for 2 more years, I'm going to want 2 more years after that.
Facts.
And then I know that at some point, this got to come to an end. He can't do this forever. He can't. But the longer he sticks around and the more he's doing, I'm going to want more. Prime example, J-Rob, in 2003, I knew Jordan was over, but I didn't want him to quit. And the reason why I didn't want him to quit because I wasn't ready to see him go.
Right.
I just wasn't ready to see him go. Even though I knew he was over, I knew he couldn't do what he used to be able to do. And because he couldn't do it, it was like a family member, like, all right, you still, like, it's like mom's getting old. It's like grandma getting old, where, all right, you can't do what you used to be able to do, but you can't go yet because I'm not ready for you to go yet. And James, with him doing what he's doing, if I get 2 more years of this, knowing me, I'm going to want 2 more years, and it's never going to be enough. So I've already reserved I've already come to grips with, at some point this is going to be over, and I don't think it's going to be over like other players. I think it's going to be something that it comes to a halt, like gradually, kind of like with Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady didn't get pushed out of the game. Like, all right, I'm out. I'm good. Same thing with James. All right, I'm out. I'm good. I did everything that I could do. If he plays another 2 more years and gets to 43,000 points, I mean, these are records that are never going to be broken. And it's natural for people to think, in the day and age that we're in, that, he's got to be doing something. And maybe he is. Here's the question, though, J-Rob. The question that I've always asked. There's always a line. And in every sport and in every business, people toe that line. The question is he crossing it? I don't think he is. I don't think he's crossing that line. I do think that he is towing it because you can't do this for this long, taking care of your body the way you do, eating the way you do. Your body is naturally going to slow down, and you are going to be deprived of the stuff that you used to be able to do. But let me know what I can do to keep at this level. Right. Without crossing the line, without cheating. And if I got to do that, then I'm out. And I feel like that's the kind of dude he is. Like, if I got to cross the line, no, I'm good. I'm out. But I'll do any and everything to get right up on that line, just like everybody else is doing. I'm sure everybody else is doing.
But you know what I find to be really interesting is everybody's talking about, LeBron James and potentially, obviously I see, the comments about him being on growth hormones and steroids. And I just want to say, I don't think he's crossing that line either. I think he's just really put in the time and effort to take care of his body. But I look at other athletes who have been successful for a long stretch of time, the Lionel Messis of the world, the Ronaldos of the world. We've seen it before where we've had levels of sustained greatness. And so I don't think it's Tom Brady. I don't know why the steroid thing or the growth hormone thing is led towards this specific player when we've seen longevity in all facets of sports. So I think it's a bit unfair. And I only think it's because of, deflection from the fact that, it's the GOAT debate, honestly. That's where I think it comes from. But again, at year 20, at year 21 in his career, what he's doing is honestly is still ridiculous to see.
It is.
And it's special.
It is. It 100% is, J-Rob. And I'm just glad I'm here to see it. That's it more than anything. I'm just glad I'm here to see it. And as long as he's not crossing the line, I ain't got no problem with it. I'm good with it, yo. I'm good.
Right.
In fact, the rest of y'all dudes should be doing it. The rest of y'all dudes should be doing it. If it ain't illegal, if what I'm doing is not illegal, the rest of y'all dudes should be. I don't understand why the rest of y'all dudes won't do it. So,
hey man, I feel that. But speaking of game-changing stuff, did the NBA change the game for the EuroLeague? You said you had heard a conversation that piqued your interest. Do you want to share with the chat?
Well, I heard a conversation where the NBA changed the game to basically favor the Euro. That's why we got the long ball in the game the way we do. That's why we have bigger guards in the game like we do. And I don't think the NBA changed the game solely for the Euro. I think they were the recipient of some convenient timing. So let's rewind the clock, Let's rewind the clock, J-Rob. So when Magic and Bird showed up, right before that transition, the NBA was a very quote unquote selfish league. Not only was it a very selfish league, it was too black, was what they called it. There was a term that they called the New York Knickerbockers. They used to call them the New York, Bockers, N-word Bockers. So it was a very different time for the NBA. Well, into Magic and Bird. Magic and Bird show up, and now the NBA is becoming more popular. Why is it becoming more popular? It's becoming more popular because, one, Magic has the charisma that he has. He's got the showmanship that he has. But add that with Bird being who he is and the people in those arenas in middle America. You know who they don't look like, J-Rob? They don't look like you and me. You know who they do look like? They look like Bird. And those people can relate to Bird. So David Stern was selling that. David Stern is selling that, and it's working. So now we got a rivalry between the Lakers and the Celtics, which is now back in effect. So then Doc is on his way out, but Jordan shows up. In the process of Jordan showing up, David Stern looks at Jordan and goes, that's the future of the NBA right there.
Right.
That's the future of the NBA. This is what the NBA is going to look like in the next 10 to 15 years. It's going to be a bunch of 6'6" to 6'8" guys playing above the rim, high flying, great showmanship, good looking guys that we can promote on TV. We can do that. The biggest problem was the Detroit Pistons and the physicality in the game. So the Detroit Pistons body slamming guys, taking guys out. So David Stern said, nah, we got to get rid of this. Because the future of the league needs to thrive. Because this is what the future of the game is going to look like. Right. Now, in addition to them doing that, the long ball was starting to come into effect. Because let's not make it sound like the Euro invented the long ball. Right. Okay, because Dale Ellis shot the long ball with the best of them. Bird shot the long ball with the best of them. Chris Mullin shot the long ball with the best of them. Detlef Schrempf shot the long ball with the best of them. There were plenty of three-point shooters. Right? There were plenty of three-point shooters in the NBA who were Americans, right? Steve Kerr, Craig Hodges during that time. Reggie Miller during that time. So the long ball was prevalent. But the difference was guys like Jordan playing above the rim, him being the future of the game. Now we're moving toward the Euro League. Now we're moving toward the Euro, who's just a recipient of good timing. Well, we're moving toward that way anyway. So in the process of us moving toward that way, and you dudes do what these dudes do over here, because Reggie Miller, all of these guys that I just named, they shoot the long ball. They do all of those things. You do it too. So now that's helping you. And also, we can't leave out how important the money was. Now, what do I mean when I say the money? So now we got to get scoring up. So we taking the physicality out of the game. We ain't taking the physicality out of the game just for the Euro. We taking the physicality out of the game to get scoring up so it could be more appeasing on TV.
Right.
So you add Jordan being the future of the game, you add the money, then you add what the Euro already was. I think that they were more of a recipient of convenient timing more than the league got changed because of the Euro. I'm not sure that was the case. I'm not sure.
I mean, for me, in my opinion, I really don't know if the NBA game changed for the Euro because, I had the opportunity a few times to one of my first things I got to do post college was I was in Australia covering the WNBL and the NBL. Mm-hmm. And so just having the opportunity to really see overseas basketball in a different light, I think it's already had its own identity of how they played the game of basketball. You know what I'm saying? And so, and again, I think because in America the athletes are way better in terms of just pure athleticism. I think the way the game is looked at differently, but like the shooting the three and passing and the pace and half-court offense, that stuff is highly ingrained into the players, because they don't play as many games. Like the NBL and the WNBL, the teams, Chilltown, these are pro basketball teams that were playing 1 or 2 games a week, and the second game is on Saturday. The first game was on Monday. You know what I'm saying? They have a stretch to practice, recover, go over film, prepare. It damn near sometimes used to feel like a football schedule. You know what I'm saying?
So no back-to-backs.
You're not playing back-to-back. No back-to-back.
No 4 games in 5 nights. No 3 games in 4 nights. None of that.
Not even a thought. So because of that, I don't know if the NBA changed. I think the Euro just brought a lot of that stuff to the America, and we kind of adopted it. You know what I'm saying? Or we kind of I really want to say revolutionized it. Because then you get your Stephen Currys who make it look absolutely silly now, and the 3-ball really we turned the 3-ball up in America because of what they did in Golden State. You know what I'm saying? So. I don't want to say the NBA changed the Euro game because from my personal experience, just covering, overseas basketball, I just feel like that's always been that identity. I don't think they took that from us because in some ways I feel like you got to look at it. Most of these American-born, America, what are you compared to the other countries? You're usually the bigger opponent. That's why we've been so dominant. We've had all the size, all the athleticism. So how do you combat that? You have to think mechanics really matter because you're already playing to a field. You're the number one power in the game. They have all the talent. So you're the only way to win is through your fundamentals, your ability to shoot, pass, play right defense, and make the smart plays. So I think all of that matters. So I really would probably say I think the Euro just brought what they already adopted to the United States.
Again, and I want to make sure that I'm clear when I say that Euros did benefit, and they did have the skills that was necessary in order to play in the NBA.
Right.
But the physicality, I mean, I don't think that the physicality was what they had to change for Euros because last I checked, Detlef Schrempf was not soft.
Right.
Marciulionis was not soft. Tony Kukoc was not soft. These guys were not soft. Dirk Nowitzki, when he came over here, he was struggling early because he had to adapt to the physicality. But it wasn't like it wasn't rough in the Euro League. It wasn't like it wasn't hands-on over in Europe. These guys, Sabonis, guys like that were not soft.
Right.
So when you fast forward to these guys were already shooting the long ball. Curry, the 8 seconds or less offense. They were already doing that. So when you add and that wasn't because of the Euro League. No, that was not because of the Euro League. But again, I think that it was just a matter of being a recipient of convenient time. And wait a minute, we play like that too. And we want to expand the game globally. These dudes play like that. We play like that too. Let's add to it. So let's put let's bring more shooters over to the NBA because that's the way the game is going anyway. Once like Steve Nash in the 8 seconds or less offense, that offense was rolling.
Right.
The problem is that they didn't win. When Steph Curry and Klay Thompson came along, now they're winning. Now they make the big man obsolete. The big man has to now change his game. Now, does that mean that, okay, we're changing the rules because of the Euro? No, we're not changing the rules because of the Euro. We're already playing like this. Right. It's just now that the Euros are now coming over and expanding on what we're doing. That's all they're doing, which goes back to my original point that I feel like the Euro was just a recipient of convenient timing more than anything.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, sometimes that matters. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? You know, I think that sometimes that is okay because, you know, maybe the game's better for it. I mean, look at where the game is now. I mean, listen, let's be honest. If there was a world team versus a USA team, I'd be kind of worried.
Me too. Me too.
Like we kind of lucky. We kind of lucky that everybody else is kind of in different countries across the map. Because if there was one world team, oh Lord have mercy.
Hey Rob, you saw the FIBA games last summer. You saw what happened to us.
Lord have mercy.
You saw what happened to us. So if you get all of them dudes, you get Smith, you get Joel Embiid, and you get Luka and Giannis, and all of them dudes together.
I mean, listen,
we would have trouble.
Listen, there's 2 guards up in Canada right now.
Right, Jamal Murray and Shea with Giannis and Luka, and come on, man, we ain't walking by them dudes.
At least Embiid said he gonna play for the United States. Everybody,
thank you,
Joel.
Thank you,
Joel. Yeah,
thank you very much, brother.
It's crazy. It's crazy out here right now. Giannis, Jokic, Luka. You gonna have Lauri Markkanen coming off the bench? Like, oh my goodness gracious!
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What is going on, man?
Oh,
it would definitely be rough.
It would definitely Wembanyama. Oh God,
we didn't even talk about Wemby. We didn't even bring Wemby up. No, so Wemby, Rudy, Joker, Luka, Jokic. I'm sorry, Wemby, Joker, Wemby, Joker, Luka, Giannis, Shea, Jamal Murray,
Sabonis.
Oh man,
Markkanen.
Did I say Embiid? Embiid.
No, Embiid's. We'll keep Embiid because he's United States.
So you'll keep it. You'll keep him. We'll keep Embiid, and we're gonna keep Bam because Bam was supposed to play in Nigeria. But we'll keep Embiid, and we'll keep Bam, and we'll keep Embiid.
Oh my goodness!
Just them 8 dudes, J. Rod. How you feel about that? Because I don't like. Man, I'm not walking in this going. Man, we got this. I don't think that.
It ain't gonna be that easy. It ain't gonna be that easy.
I'm looking at that crew going. We in trouble, yo.
Yeah,
we got our hands full with these dudes.
Yeah,
yes, we do.
Nah, for real. There's a lot of great players. No, there's a lot of great players. But speaking of world level players, we got two MVP candidates went at it last night. Dallas versus Boston. Boston looked like the superior team late in that game. What are your thoughts to that game, and how do you feel about Jason Tatum and these Boston Celtics heading into April, May, June?
The same way I felt about Denver last year. I feel like they're the most complete team in the game. I feel like when they're hitting on all cylinders, when they're shooting the long ball like they're shooting it, when they raise their level of competitiveness to the competition like they did last night, it's going to be hard to beat them dudes 4 times in a week. I know that people are worried about them shooting the long ball, but they do get downhill. They not only do they get downhill, they defend. And we're not going to act like that game was not out of hand late in the 4th quarter, and the Dallas Mavericks had less than 100 points, right? Yeah. So it wasn't just about them shooting the long ball and not getting to the basket. No, they also defended at a high level. 100% they did that. And with them doing that, I think that we're looking at a crew that, barring injury, I feel like they could be the NBA champions. I don't really see another team, with the exception of Denver, giving them a run for their money. I just don't see another team doing that over the course of a whole week. I know that Denver, as long as the game's close, it's going to be hard to beat them when Jamal Murray and Luka. No, I'm sorry, Jamal Murray and Joker run that 2-man action. It's going to be hard to beat those dudes. Let me tell you right now, it's going to be real difficult to beat them dudes.
Best 2-man game in the NBA right now.
I think it is. I do think it is. But when I think about Boston, I think about their they got a top 5 defense, how they switch, how Drew Holiday causes the havoc that he causes, and Derek White in and the havoc that he causes, how good they are in transition. I'd like to see those guys finish at the basket a little bit more, including Jason Tatum. I'd like to see him finish at the basket a little bit more. He was 5 for 9 on the long ball last night, and he did have it going. But if he can get that other stuff a little bit more consistent, man, let me tell you, it's going to be difficult to beat those dudes. They were great on the backboard last night. I thought they did a good job in holding Dallas to one shot. I mean, what can you say about Luka that hasn't already been said? I've already said this to you, J-Rob, that the stuff that he has to do in order for them to win. I feel, what do you want, 37, 12, and 11 last night? And they still didn't win.
They didn't win.
They got smoked, as a matter of fact. Like the stuff that he has to do in order for them to win. Luka's game has to change. And what I mean when I say Luka's game has to change, he has to involve those guys. As much as he involves them, he has to involve them in a different way. Now, it's one thing to pass the ball, and it's something completely different to get off the ball in different space and in different areas. Because a guy like Luka, who is pounding the ball in transition, get off the ball sooner. Not just in transition, get off the ball sooner. Let somebody else control the offense or hit guys when they're open quicker. Because the way that Luka plays, being the ball dominant guy that he is, that's not difficult to guard come playoff time. Because we can key on these other guys. We can key on these other guys and make them become liabilities. And I think Boston did a good job at doing that last night. I think they did a damn good job of doing that last night. Jason Tatum is one of the most disrespected superstars, I think, that the game has seen in a long time. Like, we talk about Jason Tatum like he's just okay. Okay, sure. Yeah. Some people might not put him in a tier with Joker. Yeah. Okay, I'm not there yet. But when I said 2 years ago that he would be in the MVP conversation, here we are. 2 years later, he is in the MVP conversation. And he's doing exactly what I thought he would do. He's doing exactly what I thought he would do. I never thought he'd be the best player in the game, but I thought he'd be in the conversation. And he is. 100% he is. And I'll tell you one thing, J-Rob, the Boston Celtics win the NBA championship and he wins that finals MVP, I am going to be very difficult to deal with. That's all I have to say about that. I am going to be very difficult. That's it.
I mean, listen, I actually realized, like, oh snap, like people really be disrespecting Jason Tatum like he's like a top 25 player in the world.
Top 15.
Top 15. Yeah, like, and honestly, you know, I think what people got to realize, chat, is, again, he's only 26 years old. And I think I had said this.
Not yet.
He's 25? Still 25. Exactly. 25 years old. I think I said this up on Playback last night. We are holding him to the standards of really the fact that he's been, and again, it's no fault that the Celtics drafted him 3rd overall. It's not his fault that he was already on a team that was already established, already had an infrastructure, was already a playoff level team. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, since he's been already in the playoffs since his career has started, he's measured due to his postseason success. But again, he was the best player on a team that went to the finals, and he's still only 25 years old. There's so much more room left to go, and I think he hasn't proved it all yet, but he's proved a lot. I think at such an early age, I think he's shown that I can be the best player on a championship level team. If you put pieces around me, you know, I could potentially take you there. So, you know, I think that people are not giving enough credit, and realistically, like, the master class they did in the playoffs, you got to beat Kevin Durant, you got to beat Giannis to get there. I mean, let's give them some credit, you know, some credit, you know,
a little bit, a little bit
credit, some credit, you know, like, yeah, maybe they got beat down by Jimmy Butler, but come on, y'all, that's Jimmy Jordan. Sometimes that's what he becomes at times. Like, that's who he's shown he could be as well. So.
And we can't leave out that they did beat the Miami Heat too. Let's not leave that part out. Even though they did lose to them, right? Even though they did lose to them, let's not make it look like they didn't beat them, because they did beat them too. So, I mean, I like to think that matters. And to Snead, absolutely, I think that he deserves some criticism for what happened. Yes, he does. He 100% deserves some criticism for what happened in 2022. Sure, he definitely deserves some criticism. But what I will not have is I won't have to just blatant disrespect that. Yo, you're not that good. No, I'm not listening to that. No, you might not be Curry good right now. You damn sure getting there, but what you're not going to do is you're not going to talk about him like he's just okay,
like regular.
No, you're not doing that.
Like he's
I'm not trying to hear that. No, I will not hear that.
But absolutely not. We got a direct access. I just dropped that link in the chat, but we got a $10 chat, so we gotta hit it right away. Spooky with the super chat. LBJ accomplished more than Kobe in less time, so it's not a longevity stat. More points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, more MVPs, finals MVPs, all NBA selections, etc. The definition of being better.
The accolades argument is a real slippery slope, man. And I'm an accolades guy, but we have to put context on it. It can't just be, yo, I was the league MVP and that's all. Sure, James was the league MVP, but he proved it that he was worthy of it by going somewhere else and winning it.
Right.
Like it wasn't where he just stayed right where he was, and in that Cleveland system, they just kept doing what they were doing. No, he actually went to Miami, played in a different system, and played at an even higher level.
Right.
And played at an even higher level. In the process of playing at a higher level, he actually won league MVP, won the NBA championship. So I think that kind of stuff matters as opposed to a guy playing in a system, because you can definitely scrutinize these guys going, well, you only played in the triangle, or you only played in this. Well, when I go play in a number of different, if I go play in a number of different places and I'm still as successful, it proves that my game travels.
Right.
My game is not just for this system right here or for just this system right here. My game is for everywhere. My game travels. And I feel like that's the definition of an all-time great player, when my game travels, when I can do it any and everywhere. I think that's the definition of an all-time great player.
I agree. We got some people in the back, so I'm going to bring them up here. Let's do it.
Yep, let's do it. What's going on? Yep. What up? What up?
Salute everybody.
Yo, what up, Kev?
Hey,
what up?
Salute, y'all. Salute.
What
up? I think it's an interesting title. Me personally, I think me personally, I have a GOAT tier, right? I have 3 to 4 players in that GOAT tier where these guys did something that we will never see again. We will never see the overall total career from amateur to pro level like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We'll never see a guy who had that level of impact on the league in terms of marketability, style of play, revolutionary like a Jordan. We'll never see a guy who had this much team success and, let's be honest, that much impact not only on the game of basketball but also on society like Bill Russell and the guy like LeBron James, right? This guy will never see longevity close to this. We'll never see a player, and people forget, like LeBron didn't just start in the 2010s. He came in 2003. So we're talking about a guy who maintained a high level in 3 different decades. Chill Town, he's 2 seasons away from playing the most seasons in NBA history. 2.
Yes.
And the fact that he's playing at this level, the fact that he's in most people's top 10 current players today is only unprecedented. And my question to you, Chill, because you've seen, and you too, J-Rob, y'all seen a lot of not only basketball, but also football, baseball, and many other sports. You've seen a bunch of record sets, but you didn't see, there's only been a handful of unbreakable records.
Right.
Michael Phelps winning 23 gold medals. Emmitt Smith, all-time leading rush leader. John Stockton, all-time assists, all-time steals. Tim Duncan, most consecutive 50-win team years, as well as most blocks in the playoffs. All these unbreakable records. You got LeBron right now about to eclipse 40K. In your opinion, where would that particular record stack up to the other ones? And which one do you think is most impressive out of all those unbreakable records? And also, my fault.
To be honest with you, it's a guy that you didn't mention, and that's Chamberlain. And
yeah, of course.
The reason why I bring Chamberlain up is because it's only one dude in NBA history who averaged more points than Chamberlain, and that was just broken not too long ago, and that was Jordan. Chamberlain is still second. He retired 50 years ago, right? He retired 50 years ago. In the process of him retiring over 50 years ago, he still has that record. So the thing that's the most impressive to me is I feel like James, what James is doing at the age that he's doing it and still being able to play at a high level for so long. The fact that he showed up playing at a high level and continued at this high level. One of the things that I stand on when a guy fails, how he can fold up under that pressure and just basically go away. Not only did James not do that, he came back better and he stayed at that level when most guys would have folded up the tent, not just from a basketball sense, but from a social sense too. These people, they destroyed him. Oh, you ain't good enough. You're not this, you're not that. You know what? Maybe I'm not that. And he could have just folded up the tent and left, only except he didn't. He's still listening to you dudes talk about him like he ain't this, but he's still here doing it. He could have left a long time ago. I heard Kobe Bryant say that they were playing Sacramento and he's looking in the rafters and he see Chris Webber jersey. He sees D-Box jersey. He sees Peja Stojakovic's jersey. He's like, what the hell am I still doing here? If all of these dudes already gone. James still here, listening to all the scrutiny, listening to all the doubters. Meanwhile, he's still here playing at a high level. I think that's the most impressive because more times than not, these guys would have folded up and they would have left.
100%. I mean, I already know where I stand on the LeBron conversation. We got one more $10 super chat, so I'm gonna go get it out the way real quick. MJ's the only person to win DPOY, MVP, and scoring title in the same year. Plus, someone who stays with their team their whole career, plus wins versus someone who runs to other teams with as good, if not better, players. I mean, that's more of a statement, but you know.
Yeah, it is. It's more of a statement.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a question.
Yeah,
which is fair.
So he feels how he feels.
There is some context to that. Yeah, sure. Jordan led the league in scoring. He won the league MVP. Led the league in scoring. Won the defensive player of the year. And what was the other one? Won the league MVP. Led the league in scoring. Won the defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year.
And it was one more that he did.
Dunk contest.
No, it wasn't the dunk contest. I don't think that's what it was.
He said he played on the same team his whole career.
Yeah, so it was the defensive player of the year, the MVP.
He played on Jordan played on two teams. What?
Yes, he did. Yes, he 100% did. So he won the defensive player of the year, he won the MVP and the scoring title. And this goes back to my original logic when I talk about guys playing at that level, because I like to think that stuff matters. You know, there's certain things that, almost only counts in horseshoes and landmines, right? I get that part. But when you playing at that level, like what if I told you that James was first team All NBA, he was first team All Defense. Not only was he first team All Defense, won the league MVP, and he had a 4-year stretch when he was doing that where he finished second twice and third in the league in scoring by an average margin of 1 point.
Right. For real.
I've always felt he should have won in 2012, 2013. If you were going to give it to somebody on that Memphis Grizzlies defense, it should have been Tony Allen, in my personal opinion, when it came to DPOY that season. If you were going to give it a DPOY, I wouldn't have said Marc Gasol. I felt Tony Allen should have won that. Because how people were talking about that Memphis Grizzlies defense, they was riding on Tony Allen on the perimeter and how he was guarding players up. They
had three dudes on that team, on an all defensive team. It was Tony Allen, Gasol, and Mike Conley. 3 dudes made the all league defensive team that year.
Yeah, and I felt the best defender out of all of them was Tony Allen.
Yeah,
I felt he should have won it if it wasn't LeBron.
Right.
Now was it fair that Tony Allen, at that point, we're talking about the 2 guard spot maybe not being as tough as the 5 spot, because Tyson Chandler was running around during that time. Ibaka was running around during that time. Dwight Howard's running around during that time. So what was Tony Allen maybe the recipient of a weaker 2 guard spot in terms of defense, as opposed to Marc Gasol, who had to deal with better defensive players at the big spot?
Could make a fair case for that, but Tony Allen was still dealing with the D Wades, the Kobe. Sometimes he would be the ones guarding the point instead of Conley. Sometimes they would switch up. So I would say Tony still was guarding both the 1 and 2. Sometimes the coach would tell him, "Hey, might have to guard the 3 on certain occasions." But I can understand people saying Mark because of the depth of bigs that were happening at that time. I can understand that.
Well,
it is.
Well, let's get into this. Let's get into this other. Well, we could bring up this other topic and they could chime in on. I think this is another one that makes a little bit of sense, fellas. The Clippers injury woes continue. I told you we'd be back at this place again.
Here we are. Here we are. What can I say? Here we are. So, all of you guys, not just you guys up here, all of you guys in the chat and all of you guys in the internet universe, you guys roasted me when I said that I was out on the Clippers because I needed to pay attention and I needed to leave what was in the past. And I was a Kawhi Leonard hater and I'm just a Clipper hater when what you dudes, and I don't mean you guys right here in particular, but what you dudes sound like is you sound like the guy that's watching a movie that you want the movie to end another way, even though you've seen the movie and you know how it's going to end. You've seen it 3 or 4 times and you know how it's going to end, but you watching it again, hoping that it ends in a different way. You already know what it looks like.
Prime example, the series finale of Snowfall. Everyone wanted Franklin to end up way different than how he was. But in my personal opinion, it was perfect for how it was supposed to end. I am sorry.
And on top of that, you can watch Snowfall, that ending, 20 times. Franklin is not going to drive off in a Bentley and end up in Santa Monica. He's not going to do that.
Exactly.
Franklin lost everything. He did. He lost everything. He became a drug addict, and that's how it ended.
He became exactly what his father was back from the first episode and what we saw.
And you saw it coming. It's not like you didn't see it coming. It wasn't like it came out of nowhere.
When I chose to catch up on it, I saw it from a mile away because I really could keep track of all the Easter eggs. I was like, it's going to happen. I told all my friends, like, yo, this is going to happen. Y'all are going to cry to death when it happens, but I'm going to say this on voice call. I told y'all, MF,
You saw what was happening.
Yeah, you saw the movie.
You absolutely saw it. So here we are. So here we are with the Los Angeles Clippers, right? Here we are with them. We're late in the season. Paul George just came off injury. In the process of Paul George just coming off injury, Clippers, I believe they lost 2 of their last 3 games. I think they lost 3 of their last 5. Paul George just came off injury. He's back in the lineup. They smoked Washington yesterday, but in the process of them smoking Washington, Russ breaks his hand. So Russ going to be out for a month. Russ is going to be out for a month. And just so you guys know, the playoffs start in about 6 weeks. All right? The playoffs start in about 6 weeks. So here we are. We have and the one guy who we haven't seen break down yet, who has been the most consistently broken down, is that coming? I hope not. But
it can't.
If history tells me, if history has shown me anything, what has history shown me? What did he just tell me? This movie is going to end exactly how I think it's going to end. It's going to end exactly how I think it's going to end. I can't bet on the Clippers because I've seen this movie so many different times and I know how it's going to end. I know that it's not going to end any way different. As much as I'm going to rewind it, okay, it's going to end indifferent. Okay, I'm going to rewind it. No, it's going to end the same way. The same way it's going to end. The Clippers haven't been bad. In fact, they've had win streaks of 8 out of 10. They've had win streaks of 11 out of 13, and they've been healthy from time to time. But this stretch of the season, when teams are getting healthy, when teams are gelling, this is the worst time for this to happen to a team like the Clippers. The worst time for this to happen to somebody like them. So Russ, who was an integral rotation player on that crew, now he's got to go out of the lineup for a month. James Harden has to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George has to do more, which, by the way, contrary to him making an all-star team, Paul George has had stretches in the season where he's not been very good. And if any of you guys in here trust Paul George in the playoffs like that, good luck, because I don't.
I mean, let's also talk about Kawhi Leonard. I mean, I don't think he's been that phenomenal either. Like, yes, he has, J-Rob. Yeah, he has.
J-Rob, I hate the Clippers, but he has been phenomenal.
He's been good. He's been listen. He's been good. I'm just saying I don't see Terminator Kawhi like y'all trying to tell me. I don't see that Kawhi. I mean,
that new contract got him going all out.
Look. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm not saying I don't. One of y'all mics is hot. I'm not saying I don't like Kawhi. I'm not even trying to slander Kawhi, but Kawhi looks very mortal now. He don't look like the Kawhi old. I don't think you could really put him on too many situations where could be on the island. I don't think the Clippers are really phenomenal defensively. And again, health is gonna be a main concern as well. Like, let's just be honest. This next stretch for them is critical because nobody can really get injured. And I don't know why people have some level of confidence that they're gonna have going this like run in the playoffs, because I just don't see it. I mean, they haven't shown to me. They had a few good games. James Harden looks good in spurts, but I'm not sold on the Clippers by any stretch. And I think this thing is going to end the same way it has for a long time. And I honestly think there's just better teams in the West than the Clippers.
And J-Rob, you would be right.
Do you not believe in them? Do you not believe in them because of the history that they've had due to injury, or because of what they're doing now?
Both. I mean, I don't think the team. I'm not sold on the team. Like, I think one of these young teams can 100% knock off the Clippers. And I want y'all also to know the Clippers have not shown me that they're a team that has strong fortitude. Like, this is a team that if they go down 3-2 or they go down 3-1, they're likely to fold. That's been kind of in their makeup. They've shown that when the going gets tough, they're kind of a team that shrinks in those moments. That's just been the reality of it as well. So not only the injury concerns, but y'all think Kawhi, I think a lot of people believe that Kawhi, the Terminator, is going to come back out in the playoffs. And I'm going to be honest, fellas, I truly don't think that guy's coming through that door anymore. And I love him, but y'all also got to realize, I watched in that Clippers game, again, look, going against the best player on the team, Kawhi Leonard did not look better than a 39-year-old LeBron James from a defensive standpoint and an offensive standpoint. It looked like to me LeBron James was picking up his feet and putting them down laterally better than Kawhi. And granted, Kawhi's had legit, 100%. And you got to think, once Kawhi Leonard, imagine he's going to have to start dealing with some of these younger players who are not going to go that crazy in just a fourth quarter like LeBron did. He's going to have to go get worn out for quarter after quarter after quarter. And come on, are we going to be real, chat? It is real where Kawhi Leonard is not that two-way player that we beloved. They was out there leaving Daniel Tice on the island with LeBron. And guess who wasn't on the opposite? Stupid. Hold on. And they were leaving Daniel Tice on the island, chat. And the old man on the other side was taking Kawhi in the biggest moment of the game.
No.
Let's be real about these Clippers. It sounds good. There's a lot of Hall of Famers on the squad. It's a lot of great names, but the totality of it is, I don't think they're the juggernaut. Maybe 2-3 years ago, if they were healthy, I could get behind it. But in 2024, fellas, I just can't. I can't get confident in what that team is. I just can't.
The Clippers are the most old school quote in the book. If someone tells you who they are, believe them.
There's no other way. No, hold on, everybody. Hold on. One more time for the people in the back. They ain't hear you. Say it again.
If someone tells you who they are, believe them.
There's no other way to put that. There isn't. We could talk about the Clippers all day long. What he just said, that's the end of it. That's the end of it.
Well, what about the fact that 3-4 years ago, a younger version of them couldn't win? So now these guys with injury history, they're 3-4 years older.
This way about Kawhi, he is never gonna be someone who can deal with being the hunted. He can always have the person to be the hunter.
Go ahead.
He can only deal with being the hunter. He can never.
What I'm saying is they couldn't win 3-4 years ago. They couldn't win 3-4 years ago when they were younger and less injury prone. Now they're older and more injury prone. And Kawhi Leonard's injuries are the type that are degenerative. They don't really get better. They get managed. So he's going to have moments. He's not going to have that many games, in the playoffs that he's going to be able to be that difference maker. He's going to have moments. There's going to be games like LeBron, what he did against the Clippers a couple nights ago. He could do that occasionally. He can't do it consistently. They're old. They're injury prone. Russell Westbrook, historically one of the most durable guys, especially for that team on that standard. Now he's injured. James Harden's going to have to carry most of the load, creating and scoring, and he can't be trusted in the playoffs. I don't trust him. Man, I was on a stream.
That's a big problem right there.
Hold on, let me finish.
Fred,
I was on a stream.
I'm gonna need you to stop interrupting everybody when they speak, brother.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I mean that with all due respect, bro, but you've interrupted everybody. You need to let people get their stuff
That's
off.
my bad.
Yeah, I'll finish real quick about James Harden. I was on a stream last season, and somebody was telling me that this year is different about the Sixers. This year is different for James Harden. I said, the hell it is.
Right.
I'll see if you'll come back. Because what happens is people with their fandom, they say this year is going to be different. No, it's not. This is who they are. This is who they've been. And if you go otherwise, you're asking to lose. You're betting against logic and reasoning, and I don't do that.
Me neither.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I know somebody was saying. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hold on. I wanted to say, shout out to Chill. This is a dope show. You know, I'm a fan of the show. I hope y'all hitting that like button. Shout out to everybody on the panel. And I want to say, Chill, I'm really not the villain. I'm the underdog. You know, we the underdog. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean?
They ain't really paying attention to us. They ain't paying attention to us as enough as they should. Word.
Well, it's a difference in underdog. So again, you know, shout to LeBron. That's the title of the show. You see, he came back versus the Clippers. I want to ask, even if the Lakers not a high seed, do you see an underdog knocking out a top contender? Do you see the 5th seed beating the 4th seed? Do you see the 6th seed beating the 3rd seed? Do you see the 7th seed beating the 2nd seed? You know what I'm saying? Is it possible? Is it upset in that first round? Is LeBron upset it even though he's not a high seed? Maybe he not 1 through 4 with the Lakers. But do you see them possibly upsetting somebody in that first round? The Lakers?
Well, the Lakers, sure. I could see them running into Oklahoma City and definitely giving them a run for their money. And Oklahoma City is one of those teams, even though they're young. I said this a couple of days ago. The Lakers are that team, just like last year with Memphis, being as young as they were. If you're going to bounce them, better hurry up with it, because the longer this series lasts, the better these dudes get. So you better if you're going to get rid of them, it better be 4 or 5 games, because if it's 5, if it's 6, if it's 7 games, I'm definitely not going with the younger team. I'm not. I'm sticking with the vets. So I could definitely see them, right? I could definitely see them beating an Oklahoma City team. Definitely see them doing that.
The Lakers got 2 top 10 players. How are they the underdog?
No, I'm saying record-wise, going into the playoffs, record-wise. What seed do you think the playoffs go in?
I mean, if you go by seeding, technically it would be an upset. I mean, if a team
you got 2 top 10 players, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. How are they underdogs?
I agree with you from the standpoint you're looking
talking
at
about record-wise. I'm talking. Hold on. So I'm saying, do you think the Lakers are going to be a top 4 team, like 1 through 4 going in the playoffs?
No, they're not. No,
but that's not.
So okay. So I'm being.
Is there a possibility that they could make an? Is there?
No, but I understand what Sneed is saying, because I kind of agree with him. Like, to be honest, the way the Lakers look right now, and I think they're getting better over time. Even if they are the 7th seed or the 8th seed, they have Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And so, yeah, they may play the number 2 Oklahoma City Thunder, but let's get for real. Like, they're going to be an underdog maybe to FanDuel.
They're probably going to be favored in that series, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that's
so
what I'm saying.
I hear where Steve coming from. He's not talking about the seeding. He's not talking about the seeding. He's talking about.
So what's the ceiling? So what's the ceiling on this Laker team then? What's the ceiling? Conference Finals? Is that like the ceiling on this Laker team?
Second round exit.
Well, wait a minute. Outside of Denver, why wouldn't it be back to the conference championship?
That's what I'm saying.
Why not? Outside, because Denver is the.
That's why I asked.
Right? Denver is the team that gives them the most trouble.
All right, Chill. Which team rebounds and defends better than the Lakers?
Still Timberwolves.
Minnesota
does. Yep, Minnesota does. 100%.
So those are the teams that I'm going to take to bounce them out of the playoffs.
Right.
That's why I said second round exit, because if you look at the current standing,
you trust somebody like Cat to be able to close out a series like that?
Hold on, real quick. We're not going to do. We're not going to simplify and disrespect the game of basketball by only mentioning the best players. Last time I checked, it's a team game. In the playoff, that coaching each team play at least 8 to 9 guys in rotation. So seeding matters, just how matchup matters. I'm saying second round exit. If you look at the potential seeding that we could see going in, just like Jamal Murray rolled his ankle, he's going to be out sometime. So the Nuggets not going to finish the high seed they were expecting to be. So we have to then predict, okay, even if the Lakers get a favorable matchup like a Thunder, who they're going to be playing in the second round? It's going to be potentially either the Wolves or the Nuggets.
Right.
And they match up way better than the Thunder. So my question to the panel is: are the Clippers going to be the only contending team that we're going to judge by their pass? Because last time I checked, they're not the hold on, quick, J-Rob. They're not the only playoff contending team that have key players, one of their best players that's injury prone. Last time I checked, Jamal Murray has. You look at the last 5 seasons, he only been injury free twice. Kristaps Porzingis, same thing. Same thing for the Suns. They have litany of injury concerns. So if we're gonna judge one contending team off they pass, we gotta keep the same energy.
No, we don't have to. No, we don't have to keep the same energy. No, we don't. No, the reason why we don't have to do that because with Jamal Murray, what you were talking about, Jamal Murray has played more. Kawhi Leonard has definitely been more consistently injured. Paul George, the same thing. When we talking about guys like Paul George, we're talking about guys like Kawhi Leonard. We're talking about guys like Anthony. We're talking about guys like Anthony Davis, right? Anthony Davis has played more games than all of them dudes. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry. He's played more games than all of those guys, and they've gotten it done on top of that. So in the process of them doing that, I can't judge Anthony Davis like I judge Kawhi Leonard. I can't judge Jamal Murray like I do Kawhi Leonard. I can't do that because they got it done. Not only did they get it done, they were able to hold up to get it done. Them dudes were not.
Yeah, like
Kawhi Leonard has broken down way too many times in the playoffs.
No, but I'm not. But J-Rob, I'm not gonna keep the same energy for the Celtics because Chill, you said it yourself. Hold on, Chill said it multiple times. The X factor and the guy who pushed the needle is Kristaps Porzingis.
He's the difference.
Last time I checked, he's never been the most durable player in the NBA.
Yeah, okay, but what I'm saying is, I understand where I understand where you're coming from, but I think the way you're trying to phrase it is way too surface level, and this is why, because the Los Angeles Clippers have pretty much had some of the faltered their expectations in ways I haven't seen for a team that is supposed to have been a contender. They have not gotten out of the first or second round of the playoffs. And the one time we see them almost get to a conference finals, it was an absolute meltdown. And we can say what we want. Players came out and said mentally it was too hard. That was their excuse for what the collapse in the bubble. Now, I get you're talking about a Porzingis getting hurt, a Jamal Murray getting hurt. Fair. However, the Denver Nuggets have still proven enough where they've won a title. Jamal Murray was phenomenal in those playoff runs. The Boston Celtics in 2022 were in the finals. At least these teams have shown you they can get there. And these players have shown you that they're healthy enough to get there as well. And it's not like these playoff runs, they haven't been available. So Kawhi Leonard at times has just flat out not been available. Paul George has just flat out not been available. And that's been the difference. That's been the difference in them losing. You're talking about the difference in them winning and losing. You're bringing up Jamal Murray.
That's the same thing with the Nuggets.
Hold on. You're bringing up Jamal Murray. He was available last season. We've seen him in the playoff runs. He was in it when they were in the bubble. They were in the Western Conference Final. I understand what you're saying.
You're skipping the 2 years. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I understand. Yeah, I could skip the 2 years because they just won the title last year. You understand? There's still so much left on the table for the Clippers. We've seen the Celtics were literally in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Like, I think there's levels to this in some regard.
Sturdy, I can't
hold them all to the same level.
I'm just saying. If I'm going to question the health of one injury-prone player, I'd have to keep the same energy for other injury-prone players. That's what I'm saying.
But I also mentioned that my issue with the Clippers is not just that. I think they also have shown that they fold mentally as well. They have not shown to be
the Celtics haven't. The Celtics have been folded multiple times. The Celtics have been underachieved based off expectations multiple times.
Sturdy, they haven't even got to a conference finals, brother. Or
No, they did. They got to the conference finals. Clippers against the Suns. Yes.
Okay, in 21. Yeah. My bad. Yes, you're right.
But when we're talking about injury history, Paul George has an extensive injury history. Kawhi Leonard has an extensive injury history, right? James Harden. Russell Westbrook doesn't, but he's now starting. That's starting to go on with him. And on top of that, them dudes not performing in the playoffs like they are supposed to. This team got together specifically for one thing. They didn't get together for anything else. They didn't get together to win games. They didn't get together to make all-star teams. They got together specifically for one thing. And when you bring up Boston, you're bringing up a team that came up in the ranks. We're not going to talk about the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum like he stayed on bomb squads, because he didn't. Nobody talks about what happened. Nobody talks about what happened when he in 2020 in the bubble when he had to run with Kemba Walker. Just so you know, Jaylen Brown, he didn't get 20 a game out of him until year 4. Year 4 was when he got 20 a game out of him. And then the next year in 2021, Jaylen Brown actually doesn't even play in the playoffs. And he's got to, and Jason Tatum has to put 50 on Brooklyn in order to extend the series. And then you get these dudes in 2022 who they're still kind of young. Jason Tatum's 24 years old. And then they run into a vet team with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. I can't even put that in the same conversation with what the Clippers are doing, because all they've ever shown us is underperforming and injuries. That's all they've ever shown.
Chill. How many of those guys go to the Hall of Fame? Chill. How many of those Clippers go to the Hall of Fame?
All of them. First ballot.
See what I mean?
All of them. First ballot guys. Every last one of them. So if we're going to talk about these, guys, I can't keep the same energy for them. I can keep some energy for them because there is an injury. Wow. There is an injury history, but I can't. It's not even close to the same thing, though. Sturdy, no, absolutely not. I won't do that.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna rotate some guys too, like that haven't spoke. So, like Sneed, I appreciate you for coming through.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you for coming through as well. I'm gonna rotate some guys so they could come up here. I appreciate y'all for pulling up for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excuse me. Yes,
what's
sir.
Up, fellas? What's up, AD, D Reed, Dominic, AD? What's up, fellas?
What's going on? What's going on?
What's good? How y'all fellas? How y'all doing?
Good. How about y'all, man?
So let's get into the meat and potatoes, fellas. What's on your mind? I know something's on somebody's mind.
Yeah, I got something. I feel like this game on Sunday between the Celtics and Warriors, I feel like it's a big game because Celtics, they've shown some mental lapses when they see this team. I feel like if they can win this game, I feel like this could be a big statement for them because I feel it's like they see kryptonite when they see Curry. So
it's not kryptonite. No. Don't understate that. It's the boogeyman.
Yeah, that's let's
let's call it what it is.
It's like LeBron James. It's like DeMar DeRozan. It's like DeMar DeRozan and LeBron James. DeMar DeRozan.
It's like seeing the boogeyman. It's like when Jason Tatum sees Steph Curry. It's like seeing the boogeyman. I don't know what it is about him, but as soon as he see him, it's like run for the hills.
Demon home.
Like run for the hills.
I can't believe a third-year rotation player locked him up on a shot. I can't believe that.
Go ahead, AD.
Yeah, no, because even last time they matched up in Golden State, they blew an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter. Tatum was out of sorts. Porzingis didn't play, so hopefully that makes a new impact. But I think this is going to be a big game for them. That's something to get y'all.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Thoughts, fellas? Thoughts?
Well, remember, I still feel like the Celtics are the best team in the league, but that matchup between Jason Tatum and Steph Curry, not even from an individual standpoint, because Curry doesn't really guard him that much, but I do feel like Curry looks at him like less than, and he should, just like he did in 2022. I'm looking at these dudes like, listen, I will lose to Kawhi Leonard. I will lose to LeBron James. I ain't losing to you, yo. No, I'm not losing to you. I'm not losing to you. And he has that attitude almost every time he sees him. And I think that Jason Tatum has now adopted that, like, damn, I don't know if I can beat this dude. And it's kind of seeped into the rest of the crew. And in addition to him, I think it's seeped into the rest of the crew. And that's a mental thing that Jason Tatum and this Boston Celtics team has to get past. They have to get past that in order to get, when they get into the playoffs, they're going to see tough competition. So what I can't do is I can't stay mentally weak because I see this one team that we can't get past. No, We got to do that with everybody. And I think tomorrow's game, tomorrow afternoon, is going to be a big test for them. And I want to see if he's going to at least, at minimum, stand up to the challenge. That's what I want to see.
I think Jason Tatum is going to go and get that monkey off his back, man. I think he needs to do that. I believe that there's mental warfare in sports, and sometimes mentally you got hurdles, and I think this is a hurdle they need to climb, and I think they are primed to do it. Now, will we see it? I don't know, because Demon coming home. That demon with the 3 is coming home, so it's gonna be ugly.
Yep.
I'm a bit more worried about them. I want them to play the Heat in the first round, to be honest with you. I think in general, like just getting that confidence, starting that off in the first round of the playoffs, I think that works in their favor. And I think they're better than the Heat, but they just need to play that team in the first round and not just avoid it, be activated from the jump and get that confidence going through. I mean, the game on Sunday is going to be big, but I mean, I can't say that other teams in the Western Conference really matter that much to me when I think about the Celtics. I'm thinking about the Eastern Conference. Like, they need to focus on getting out of the Eastern Conference and not just looking past their own conference, because they did that last year. That's what I think. I think they did a little bit looking past, and that's why it was a tough road getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, the first round, second round, both of them were 6 and 7 game series. So
right.
I think, playing the Heat in the first round, that's really what I want for this team.
And I think it would be good for them, because from a competition standpoint, it's like basically seeing a big-time contender right from the beginning, because then you get your confidence up like, yo, I'm ready to go. Once we handle these dudes, I don't think we're going to see anybody tougher than them. You might see better teams. You might see teams with more talent, but I don't think we're going to see anybody tougher than that. And if you see that right from the beginning, then that means that, yo, I'm ready for any and everything. Any and everything. So if we got to see the Knicks, if we got to see Cleveland, if we got to see any of these teams moving forward, none of that matters, because it doesn't get much tougher than the Miami Heat, who, by the way, is the same team that the Boston Celtics did beat. We look at what the Celtics did last year when they lost in Game 7. We can't act like they didn't beat the Miami Heat. They did beat them in a 7-game series, which does happen. So I'm not concerned too much with that sort of thing. I'm just thinking about from the mental aspect of Steph Curry, because other teams are going to see that. You're scared of him. And if you're scared of him, then that means that we can get in your head too. And we don't want that at all. Yeah. As a unit, we do not want teams to think that you could get into our leader's head. You could get into our best player's head and basically take him not just out of a game, but out of a series. No, I don't think that we have no shot when that's going on. None.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, listen. Go ahead. Somebody want to say something? I heard somebody about to say something. You go ahead.
I think really when it comes to the Celtics, I'm just going to be realistic about it. It was going to come down to late game execution, like the brother said, being more mature and consistent with your efforts. I personally don't have them being better than the Denver Nuggets due to that experience and execution. We saw it in the last game against the Nuggets and Celtics. The biggest difference was late game execution. You saw Denver was comfortable and they knew exactly what they needed to do to get back and win that game. The Boston Celtics did not. And that's the biggest mental hurdle they have to go over if they want to see championship success. Be better in late game execution.
Are we seeing this? Sturdy, are we seeing the same crew? And don't get me wrong, I've seen flashes.
I'm seeing the same habits.
I've seen flashes from Jason Tatum, right? I've seen flashes from Jason Tatum of the same dude that I saw in 2022, where he'll go in the corner and he'll put his head down. I think that's a scheme that they run where they'll have Jaylen Brown close some games and Tatum ice him. But I do want to see him be more aggressive when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game. Kind of like last night. I do want to see that more. But I don't see it as much as I did in 22. I still am seeing some of it. And I think that I think you can overcome it. I do think that you can overcome it. But I still have seen it. And I don't like it. I don't.
Yeah, I just think sometimes.
Chill, do you think that's mostly due to the fact because he's young? Like he's young. He's young.
No more of that young thing. No more of that. No more. He's been in the league 7 years. No more of that young stuff. I'm not trying to hear that no more. No more of that. How many times have we been here? It's not like this is the first or the second time we've been here. This is year 7 that we're in now, right? Even though it took Olajuwon 10 years to win it, but we can't keep going. Or we can't keep going with the he's young. He's young. Yeah. We can't keep doing that, right? At some point, we got to win. We can't just keep getting here. We can't. No, we have to get past this team. We got to win. And in order for us to win, you have to play better. That's the way that is. You have to play better.
Yeah, there's a standard. Because I will say this though, the real question is if they don't win it this year, or let's say they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and let's say they mess around and lose, because I think they're gonna lose in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they're going to the finals. You know what the next question is Monday morning, that first day back. It's going to be about JT and Brown. Yeah. It's going to be about do we keep these two together? And that's going to be the question. That's going to be the very next question. You know how that happens.
Who do you see meeting them in the Eastern Conference Finals and beating them 4 times?
Y'all going to hate my answer.
He going to say Milwaukee.
He going to say the Knicks. He going to say the Knicks.
Milwaukee.
I'm saying the Bucks. Taking the Bucks out the East. Taking the Bucks out the East. I like the Bucks.
They have been undefeated since
J-Rob, would you say that this Bucks team is better than the 2022 Bucks team? Would you say it's better?
I think the offense could be more explosive. I don't think defensively is better, but I think they can. This team can be more explosive offensively. I'm taking the Bucks purely off the fact that I think now they're finally starting to hit their stride post All-Star break. I think that was important. I think they needed to reset, understand, figure out a bit of an identity. But the reality of it to me is, I think going into the postseason, I think I might trust the duo of Giannis and Dame a little more than I trust the duo of JB and JT.
But that's the difference, though, J-Rob. You don't have to trust the duo of JB. You got to trust that whole unit, because that whole unit is better than what Milwaukee is doing.
Now,
Plus, on top of that, defensively, they're a much better team. And I knew this was going to happen, Sturdy. What you just brought up about them being undefeated, I knew this was going to happen, because I told y'all dudes what the Milwaukee schedule looked like. I told you what it looked like.
You did.
I told y'all, and the same thing is going on with the Warriors. The same thing is going on with the Warriors.
But still, you got to acknowledge this. You got to acknowledge this. Since they got Doc Rivers, 14 games now, been a top 5 defense. That's not a fluke. You don't just turn that on.
And Sturdy, let's be honest. Let's be honest about some things, Chill. Let's be honest about some things. I could understand you may look at the schedule, but we have both been athletes. You know, what happens once you find some sort of rhythm, you may have to beat on a few bad teams to find your identity. But once you find that identity and get it rolling, it's going to be. I think this team is going to find their stride. And let's be real. Let's not act like we didn't see this last year with the Los Angeles Lakers post the trade deadline. They found a few pieces, didn't know who they were yet, figured it out, found their stride, overachieved in the playoffs. I'm also going to say this: the best player in this series, and you can say what you want, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Giannis has already shown us he can single-handedly dominate a series. And I understand his team stuff and things of that nature, but I think in a 7-game series, if I got to take Milwaukee and Giannis or put my money on JT and JB, I'm going to take the Bucks and Giannis, because
didn't we just see the Celtics do that to Milwaukee? Did we not see Jason Tatum go into Milwaukee and put 46 on them in an elimination game? Did we not see that? Did we not see
on a better Bucks team? On a better Bucks team?
What are we doing, J-Rob? Come on, man. It's not like
that team they saw, that version of the team they saw in 2022
come on, bro.
was not better than this team. That team was missing Chris Middleton. That team was shooting 30% from 3.
Thank you. Right. Let's talk about it.
Now,
come on now.
The Bucks got some things to prove, man.
This Bucks team.
I'm talking about the 2022 Bucks being better than the current Bucks.
Yeah, Middleton was out.
And I'm glad you brought that up.
Middleton was out. No, I don't think an injured Middleton team in 2022 was better than this version of the Bucks. I do not think that.
I'm talking about their starting 5. If they're starting 5, their team's being healthy compared.
Hold on. So what Sturdy just said, to compound that Bucks team in 2022, that Bucks team today is better than that one. This Boston Celtics team is much better than that 2022 Buck. That 2022. Jason Tatum is better. Jaylen Brown is
way
better. Derek White is better. All of these guys are much better
Both teams are really good.
And on top of that, we cannot discount. Discount who Damian Lillard is. Y'all dudes just told me that when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So
about
Damian Lillard, that's right. Damian Lillard has shown in the playoffs that after the first round, it gets a little tricky.
This is the worst version of Dame.
Not only does it get tricky, with Damian Lillard. Not only does it get tricky with Damian Lillard, we also can't discount what Damian Lillard is now. What Damian Lillard is now on defense. He was already bad back then. So now what he is today, are we saying that this Bucks team can protect Damian Lillard? Is that what we're saying?
All right, now it's my turn. Now here we go. Because I think you being a little OD right now, because if we're going to talk about Dame and Portland chat in the playoffs, let's get for real about the team. Let's really get for real about the team and what he was actually do. You are the same. You are the same person that tells me Luka has to do too much.
Correct.
And you can't win when you have to do too much.
Correct.
Dame had to do too much on those Portland teams.
Talk to him, J-Rob.
And it's not fair. And it's not fair to hold him on those teams that we know he couldn't get not a one true running mate to come there on that team. You're gonna tell me CJ McCollum.
Coming to go there. He said go there, chill. Don't do that.
Let's not do that. And look at CJ McCollum like he's a good player, but the reality is CJ McCollum's probably a 3. He's not a second best guy to bring you to the places where you need to go. On top of that, you're gonna put Damian Lillard, and we know what Dame can be. Dame has shown us he can be clutch. He's shown you he can send a team home. He's also shown you he could beat a team when his team is the lesser team in a playoff series, because we've seen him send teams home when he clearly doesn't have the better team. You're putting him on a team with the second or third best player on the entire planet who is going to demand so much attention. I think what we are selling short is that Damian Lillard is the X factor that we know if he is the mystery in all of this. Because if he goes supernova, if he's shooting it from 35 feet, and I'm going to say another thing that people are not going to want to hear, the greatest shooter in the history of the game is 100% Stephen Curry.
Right.
But I'm going to say right now, when it comes to shooting from distance, Damian Lillard can hit that stratosphere at any point in a game. And if he's doing that on the world stage, along with having Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm taking that, bro. And what I think everybody also has to remember, on paper, the Celtics are better and things of that nature. However, y'all also, I think, disregarding the fact that the Bucks have championship pedigree too now. There's some teams that got championship pedigree too now.
They've been 100 years ago.
It's not 100 years ago. It was
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Wait, J-Rob, if we're going to do that, you're going to go and take Dame's history into account. You also got to take into account that Drew Holiday has a history of locking up Dame. You got to take that into account. Drew has a history of locking up Dame. If we're gonna, that's fine. Kind of like how he brought up championship pedigree from years ago as well. From Dame's history from years ago as well. We're gonna do that.
2 years ago.
We gotta be consistent. We're gonna be consistent with that as well. Drew Holiday has a history of locking up Dame in the postseason. He has a history of that. So if we're gonna go and do that, we gotta be fair about that with the Celtics as well.
So you're telling me, with the attention that they're gonna have to put on Giannis, you think they're going to go in this situation? And this is where, again, let's get real about Portland. Because if we're going to be honest,
get real about him. Let's get real
he's
about
going to tell me that Drew was locking him up. Let's be real. The whole game plan was designed about Damian Lillard. Obviously, the primary defender was going to be Drew Holiday, but they wasn't leaving Dame on no island. So let's
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. He got whoa. Stop right there, J-Rob. Stop right there, J-Rob. Because 100% he did get blitzed. Yes, he did get blitzed.
Come on, they're giving up and making him give up the ball.
He did get blitzed, but he didn't get blitzed every trip.
But majority of the games you had to blitz him.
Drew Holiday had to stand in front of him at some point and play defense. We can't blitz the entire game.
Are they gonna be able to blitz him? Are they gonna be able to do that same defense that they were doing in New Orleans with Milwaukee? Can they
Absolutely
do that?
not.
They cannot do that.
Why is it not crazy? Why is it crazy to believe they can? Why is it crazy to believe they can?
And on top of that, let's be honest, Drew is not the same guy he was in New Orleans that he is now. And the reason why they can't do that is because they blitz him. You're leaving the Greek freak open. And let's not sit here and lie and act like Kristaps Porzingis is stopping Giannis from doing what he wants at the rim. I know everybody loves Kristaps.
Nobody is stopping Giannis. Nobody is stopping Giannis.
Exactly.
Okay, but
nobody can stop Giannis. The problem is not Giannis. That's not the issue. The logic isn't Giannis. The issue is Dame. Because
did we lose him?
Yeah, if you try to blitz Damian Lillard on this Bucks team,
it's just like if you
okay, J-Rob, for what you just said, we can't blitz Damian Lillard on every play. We're not blitzing Damian Lillard with Porzingis. We're not doing that. Not only are we not blitzing him with Porzingis, we got much better perimeter defenders than they had in New Orleans back then. As good as Drew Holiday was, as good as Rondo was. So now we got Derek White. We got Drew Holiday. We got Jason Tatum. We got Jaylen Brown. We got plenty of other guys. And we've seen Damian Lillard go the other way. Add that to the fact that Giannis, when he gets to the free throw line, that's kryptonite. We saw what happened last year in the playoffs when we get the meat and potatoes of the game. He does not want the basketball. He does not want to go to the stripe. And that's going to be a problem for him, not just him. That's going to be a problem for the rest of that crew. And I can't leave out the most important factor here, which is Mr. None other than Doc Rivers. If you're going to expect somebody to be somebody, please expect Doc Rivers to be Doc Rivers. And at some point, Doc Rivers is going to do Doc Rivers things.
Win a championship? Win a championship?
No. Look, here we go. You
don't have a history of just not knowing how to scheme.
You went down a slippery slope for two reasons. One, it's not a problem when LeBron James does it, and I'm a LeBron guy.
Does what?
When LeBron leaves it to the end game for the guards to ice games with free throws and things of that nature, it's all good. And keep going. You talking about Doc Rivers? And you talking about Doc Rivers, when Joe Mazzulla fails to call a timeout after the Bucks explode for a 20-point run in the basketball game, what are we going to talk about then? Let's talk about Joe Mazzulla. Because Joe Mazzulla has not proved nothing to nobody either, And all we know, there's been time in and time out that this Celtics team is getting belt to you know what?
Belt to ass.
And we looking, Coach, are you gonna call a timeout? Coach, what's the adjustment? And let's be honest, this is a guy named Joe Mazzulla who sat in front of JJ Redick and said to the world that he's not changing his philosophy. He's only going to hope that his team adopts a better version of it. And this is my concern.
How's that work, by the way, J-Rob? But keep going.
And I was going to say, it's working.
Wait, wouldn't you be able to say the same? Wouldn't you be able to say the same thing about Doc Rivers, considering the fact that Doc has a history of not scheming?
Hold on, let me finish.
Keep going, J-Rob. Keep going.
Now, I understand it's working right now, because during the regular season. But my issue is this going to work when the pressure and magnitude intensifies? When what's going to happen when they're in a game 3 and Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown is settling for perimeter shots and can't find a rhythm, and he's in the corner like you don't like? Is Joe Mazzulla going to be able to stop the bleeding? Is he going to galvanize the troops? Are they going to be that? So I think if we're going to talk about coaching mysteries, we got to call it both ways, because I think there's still some real mysteries on Joe Mazzulla's end as well. And I think it's working right now, but is it going to work when the pressure is at its most intense?
So with that being said, J-Rob, who has the most history? So we got a dude who just got the job last year, right? Just got the job last year, was in the Eastern Conference Championship and down 3-0. Not only was he down 3-0, his job was on the line. His job was on the line. And they galvanized. 100%. They galvanized behind him. And those schemes work. So he's proven when it gets to the most pressure, he will not fold under pressure. Doc Rivers has way more history of showing us that more times than not, when it gets that way, who we also got to put some blame on the players. I'm not just going to put all the blame on Doc.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
We got to put some blame on the players, 100%. We got to put some blame
But
on James Harden, on Chris Paul. But
he gets responsibility as well.
But Doc Rivers has shown us more times than not that when it gets ugly, he's going to fold. Prime example would be last year. You are in an elimination game in your building. In your building, you are in an elimination game. Close the game out. Took Jason Tatum, who was having a horrific night scoring the basketball, to change the game and actually get them back to Boston in Game 7, where they ended up getting blown out, and he put 50 on them. We've seen time and time again Doc Rivers with his schemes, with his rallying. We've seen more times than not him folding. If I'm going to go between him and Joe Mazzulla, I've seen him fold more than I've seen Joe Mazzulla.
One thing you haven't seen Joe win, you haven't seen Joe win.
You haven't seen Joe win. Thank you.
It goes both ways.
As a year two coach,
The reason why you can't bring me that logic, Sturdy, is because you just told me not too long ago about Drew Holiday slowing down Damian Lillard 8 years ago, which it wasn't 8 years ago.
No, I'm using that logic. Y'all bring it back. Y'all brought it back.
NBA championship years ago. We can't do that.
Y'all brought it back. Y'all brought it back. I didn't want to do that.
And honestly, I mean, I hear what you're saying as well, but I mean, I'd argue. I mean, we've seen a first-year coach to coach the Celtics take that team farther, and I'd say they were better defensively with another guy that if his personal life doesn't get aired out, he'd probably still be the coach. And so I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're 100%. I hear what you're saying, but again, I understand Doc's history. But I can't bank on Joe because he's a mystery. I don't mean to rhyme there, but you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's, I think there's two sides to this one. You could look at this both ways. And honestly too, I agree with you as well. Some of the players during Doc's tenure, you got to look at. You got to look at James Harden. You got to look at Joel Embiid getting hurt. There's a lot of factors. I look at all that. The collapse in the bubble. But truthfully, I think people are sleeping on this Milwaukee Bucks team, and they're finding their rhythm. And listen, I think they're going to be a tough out. I don't think it's going to be smooth.
I think they're fool's gold.
I feel you know who the Celtics remind me of? The 49ers.
Oh, that's you ain't got to do that.
No, he
does because it's fair.
I'm making a real comparison. Yeah.
I'm just keep getting there. You got to win it at some point.
Exactly.
You can't just keep getting there.
Yeah,
getting there ain't enough.
That's all I'm saying. It's just that they remind me of that regard. The problem why I can't get confident about the Celtics is, for what I'm trying to say, is they just always get there. Like, that can't be enough. Like, I can't have confidence because I know they're going to at least be there. I need them to get over the hurdle. And I wasn't really using, I want everybody to know, I wasn't using the 49ers to be a jackass. I was using the 49ers to really just make the legit comparison, because I feel the exact same way about both of those two teams. I think it is the same exact situation for both organizations. So I like
J-Rob, so then would you say then that the red flags that Boston has are bigger than the red flags that Milwaukee has now? Is that what you're trying to say?
I think both teams have red flags. I think the for me, what it's about is who I trust more. And again, I when I look at playoff series, yes, I think the coaching matters, and I think it matters, but I also got to think about the players and who I think can influence a game the most. Like, I think sometimes a guy like Giannis can do things that you can't really coach to stop. And to me, I don't.
Giannis, always. I always thought it was upstairs with Giannis.
Yeah, me too.
Wait, J-Rob, wouldn't you also trust the team though that has like lesser red flags than another team? So like, let's just say, like, I think Milwaukee has more red flags than Boston. So wouldn't you be more inclined to trust Boston to come out on top since they have less red flags?
No, that's not necessarily true, because last year I came on the panel in this summer and got absolutely jumped by the entire panel, because right after I said the Lakers were going to still go to the Western Conference Finals, and this is back when they were like a 10, 11 seed, and you know, they had a million red flags, but I trusted LeBron and AD as a duo to figure it out more than I thought about the red flags. I think Giannis has the ability to imprint a game where no coaching adjustment can stop him. And I think it's all mental with him because he can do whatever he wants. And God forbids if Damian Lillard is shooting the ball from Milwaukee at an efficient rate, you're doomed. Because I will say this: as much as I found myself defending JT more than I realized, I think JT 100% is a lot more easier to coach against. Because to me, if I can get him in a situation where he's settling for threes and long twos, I'm gonna live with it. I'm gonna live with that. But Giannis can really do whatever he wants.
So the logic is more so predicated on Giannis dominating the game and getting them over the hump. Even though we have seen in years prior, though, specifically against the Celtics, where he has been the best player in the series by far. He was the best player in that series, and we've seen Jason Tatum take over games and outplay Giannis and beat Milwaukee in that series.
And Giannis,
we gotta stop saying that. Game 6, Giannis still had a better game. The Celtics won. I want to say this though. Yeah, people saying Giannis didn't do anything.
No, I want to just add this part. I want to add this part.
He went 40 and 20 in that game. He went 40 and 20 in that game. He was good. No, I ain't fighting that. We gotta go, fellas. Unfortunately, we do this all day.
Unfortunately, we gotta slide.
Unfortunately, fellas, we gotta bounce. We would love to do this all day long, but fellas, we gotta bounce. It's great to have y'all dudes up here. 100%. That was super dope. Absolutely. 100%. I definitely dug that. So
sure I grab these two.
Yeah, we got to grab these super chats.
Porzingis get injured, and then this last grape or orange, which juice does LeBron love the most? Come on, stop it, guys.
Great.
Michael Jordan whooped on great players with bad teams. He had the best coach, best shooters, best team. Dude was favorite to win every game they played. His dominance is overrated. Okay. Well, I want to that close this. Great show.
This was awesome. This was fantastic. 100%, man.
Yes, sir.
Come. This is what we do. This is what we do on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Come through, and you'll get some real good basketball content. You know, we don't deal in nonsense. We deal in fact around here. That's what we do. I have my nephew J Rob here. We was doing it, so we definitely we'll be back next. We'll be back next week. But until then, put on the suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother, man? Call your mother. But until then, take it light, but take it.